can no longer find the threads and comments, but I swear I've seen people call Eli's monologue at the end of Love Roulette cringe, basically laughing at how extra it was and calling it unrealistic. That Eli was being overly dramatic in the way Claire was when she cried out,
"Did you flip a switch and erase me from your memory? Did you ever love me at all?"
Or when Casey shouted,
"You told me to play basketball!"
I've clearly already done a video explaining why Claire's public display of emotion wasn't simply her being drama, and now I want to do the same for Eli here. I guess I don't really see why people find this cringe. Yeah, it's not the norm in our society to display intense emotions publicly, and Eli's a bit of an edgelord at this time, but that edge is coming from somewhere real. For a whole semester, he tried to write the story of his relationship with Claire. At first, he was filled with vitriol for the girl who broke his heart and whom Imogen insisted treated him like crap after everything he did for her. Then he made Claire the hero as he softened his view of her and determined that she wasn't such a witch, but more importantly, realized that he still wanted to be with her. Then he changed the character who came between them from a high school bully to a lumberjack fellow suspiciously like her current boyfriend. And then he tried to write an ending where he and Claire ran off together in the way that he wanted his reality to reflect. Not to mention he'd been off his medication that was supposed to be regulating such fluctuating mental states the whole time. But then he couldn't get his romantic, perfect, ideal ending. Before that point, everything was so simple. Once Jake was gone and Claire saw his plight, then of course she'd recall the emo boy she fell in love with and they'd be together again. The guy Eli knew he could be without the medication. He just had to remove Jake from the picture somehow and show Claire what he truly thought of her. It just made so much sense. His ideal future was just steps away. Happiness was in reach. But then reality came crashing in. The guy Eli was off the pills was the guy Claire broke up with. The play wouldn't make Claire want to be with him again or leave Jake. And Eli was hurting the people who tried to help him make his play possible. He put Fiona through hell with the constant script changes and last-minute recastings. He used the feelings Imogen had for him to try to get back his ex, even going as far as using her as an emotional stand-in for Claire at times. Not to mention, his parents would be devastated once they found out what he was doing behind their backs. The monologue was what was happening in Eli's mind at the time, and anyone who's experienced mind-altering conditions will understand where he's coming from. You can't write your life, especially with your understanding of it shifting near every day. For Eli, his view of his relationship with Claire would change with his mood. When she was the tyrant to avoid, Eli wrote her as the villain. When she turned back into the muse and love of his life, Eli made her the hero. If he was manic, Eli could write an ending where they rode off into the sunset together. But if he was hopeless about the relationship, then he can only conceive of a tragedy. He wanted a play that was definitive and represented his ideal flow of events, and the monologue comes with the frustration of not being able to achieve that. How he felt about his life and the people around him was changing too quickly to keep up with. Not only that, but the realization that how he's been processing his world is disconnected from reality was shattering. His mind was telling him one thing while outright ignoring the truth. It was tricking him into believing in a simple solution to his lingering feelings for Claire and into disregarding how he was hurting others to get what he wanted. It made him into a monster that no one liked, not even himself. What can you expect of someone who can't trust their own mind? Was this really unrealistic of Eli to do under the weight of failure, harming people he cared about, and being left alone after thinking for so long that bliss was within arm's reach? Eli's monologue was the climax of frustration with himself and the happy ending he thought was coming. It hurts to think that reality is one way, only to find out that it isn't the case. I know for me, there are days where my mind tells me that I'm on a slippery slope to ruin, that no one cares about me or my work, and that everything I'm doing is ultimately useless. The thing about minds on mental illness is that they're very, very persuasive. It's not hard for me to fall into believing this, even as people try to tell me otherwise. And then when I'm actually feeling fine and secure in my life, such thoughts are foreign and irrational to me. The view shifts. More like, my reality shifts. Then when I'm back in the darkness, I feel as though such thoughts of contentness and hopes for the future are superficial. As though they never existed, and I was just lying to myself until this moment when my brain works hard to convince me of how bad my life truly is. This is why I can relate to Eli, and I know that's realistic. It's a version of what I go through. This is the kind of swinging mindset that Eli was facing, only far more extreme. After the mania leaves, Eli is left wondering what hope there can be if it seems his whole life has been just tragedy. Bullying, losing Julia, losing Claire, then failing to get her back and hurting people in the process. Eli feels he can't have a happy ending. That it should have been obvious to him before that his life is just a tragedy, not a rewritten Romeo and Juliet where everything works out fine. For Eli, he was lost in the conflict of what his mind said he could achieve and how clear it should have been that it was impossible. Feeling like you can't trust yourself to perceive reality correctly is debilitating, and the experience of it can't be captured without intensity because you're having an existential crisis. If you can't trust yourself, who can you rely on? There's a lot of guilt in him over what he's done and blind rage over the fact that he didn't feel like he had control over himself. Really, I'd expect nothing less of someone experiencing what Eli was. Emotions like these need to go somewhere. Some people put it in songs, videos, writings. Eli put it as the capstone to a play that symbolized everything wrong with him and his deceitful mind. No fan art to really show off today, so... Do you like doing watch-alongs? Would you like doing a watch-along with me? Then what you should do is check out this Discord invite link. For instance, by the time this video comes out, I'll have watched Fiddler on the Roof with the people in my Discord. Every other week I'm doing planned watch-alongs, and then sometimes I just randomly stream stuff like Jackbox games or even Degrassi episodes. This Discord is also a good way to keep up with things that I make because YouTube doesn't care about pushing my videos to my subscribers. In addition, you can chat with me in my Notavampyre crypt, or you can find me on YouTube at Notavampyre. Thank you very much for consuming this video, and until next time.